What's up, guys? Let's do something fun today and talk about everyone's favorite topic, money. Not my money, not your money, but the money that the EuroLeague players have made. Not in the EuroLeague necessarily, but actually in their NBA careers. As you know, we've had even more NBA players come over this season to the EuroLeague. We have a record 119 players right now in the league that are with NBA experience. And if you take just the 119 and divided by 20 teams, that means there's about 6 players on each team with NBA experience, which in my eyes is just crazy. And those players have earned over $1.3 billion in their NBA careers combined. So that's a lot of money. Let's see where it comes from in an article by our own Piusa Petka on BasketNews.com. If you're not reading BasketNews.com, I'm not sure what you're doing. Okay, so as I said, 119 former NBA players in the 2025-26 EuroLeague season, and out of those, 90 earned more than $1 million and 28 made at least $10 million in their careers combined. I didn't see on the purpose who's in this list, but I can already tell you that number 5 is Jabari Parker with $56.4 million. Obviously, Jabari played 8 seasons in the NBA. He was drafted 2nd overall, which already puts his numbers a bit up because, as you know, the higher you get picked, the more money you get as a rookie. But then after his rookie deal, he actually only earned $20 million combined with Milwaukee Bucks. The biggest deal he actually signed was the $20 million 2-year deal, so he would have made $40 million. There was a team option with the Chicago Bulls. That contract only lasted 1 year because team option was declined by the Washington Wizards, because guess what? Jabari was traded to Washington midway through the first season. And anyways, he was signed to that $20 million deal per year when he was already after the 2 ACL injuries. So that's something that was surprising when I looked at the history of Jabari Parker. Now, as we know, he's happily playing in Europe. First, he played for Barcelona for a couple of years. Now he's with Partizan, balling out there too. Okay, now next we got Richaun Holmes, a guy who I guess you should have expected knowing how long he played in the NBA. 10 seasons, that's a lot of seasons. 37th overall pick, which already, puts his numbers down at first, but he earned his money. He played for Sacramento quite well. Then he signed that big deal, $55 million over 4 years. And then obviously he got traded midway through that deal. But anyways, that deal alone, $55 million in 4 years, puts his total earnings at $61.2 million. So here we are. And now, of course, he's with Panathinaikos, where he has a big role as well. And he's one of the bigger signings of this offseason. Okay, next we got Davis Bertans. Of all the guys that I could have thought about, I did not think about Davis Bertans. And that's crazy because obviously the story of Davis Bertans was pretty widely known. The reasons why he stayed with certain teams for longer, because obviously with the contract he signed in 2020 with the Wizards, that was a crazy contract. That was $80 million, that deal, 5-year deal. And basically after that, he was sort of untradeable. I don't know what the Wizards were thinking, why they were paying him so much, knowing his limited capabilities as a player. Of course, he's a great sharpshooter. That's one thing he does really well, but that's really just one dimension you have there. It's not even a 3-and-D shooter. He's just a 3-point shooter. And it's crazy, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't have earned all that money. I mean, good for him, good for Davis Bertans, good for our Latvian brother. But from the NBA team's perspective, hey, that's one of the craziest moves that I can remember. 84.7 million total. I mean, wow. Alrighty, next up is Spencer Dinwiddie. How did I not expect that? Well, I did, because obviously Spencer played for a lot of time in the NBA. He's the newcomer to the EuroLeague. He hasn't really, at the time that I'm recording, he hasn't really even played the EuroLeague game yet, but he's obviously already here. I saw on the social media of Bayern that he's ready to join the team, so This is not a shocker in terms of seeing him on this list, but a shocker in terms of him even moving on to play into the EuroLeague. Just an incredible amount of games played in the NBA, 621, also 11 years, and obviously he had big roles. He had big roles with Brooklyn Nets when he was playing there for many years. Of course, the ACL injury at the end of his first Nets stint really hurt his career, but even after that big injury, he had that sign and trade deal with the Wizards, which actually was his biggest deal, $54 million that ballooned his total. And yeah, I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie, probably the biggest status that I can think of American coming over to the EuroLeague in the last, I don't know, 5 years for sure, maybe even the decade. Then again, there was Kemba Walker, but in my eyes, it doesn't count that case because he already came over without any knees left in his legs, essentially. So Spencer Dinwiddie, one of the biggest status players coming over in the recent years, for sure. And at number 1, we got Evan Fournier with $145.4 million made in 11 NBA seasons. And as it says in the article, he has the most games played and the highest scoring average out of any of the guys that are now currently playing in the EuroLeague. Obviously, he was big deal in Orlando Magic. Back in those days, he signed an $85 million contract with Orlando Magic that was followed by a $73 million deal by the New York Knicks. So these two contracts essentially making up the big chunk of this big total. You probably remember how the second half of his career, or let's say the last few years of his career, went, where he just didn't have his role anymore. It diminished to a point where he wasn't playing at all, even though he was healthy. Then he decided to move on and went back to Europe after a very long time in the NBA, and actually right now is one of the top players in the EuroLeague, one of the top guys in Olympiacos Piraeus. So that's the top 5, and I'm not really surprised to see these names here. Maybe I'm surprised to not see some of the bigger names like Nikola Mirotic, for example. I was thinking, where's Nikola Mirotic? Because he is one of those guys who actually set the trend recently to go back to Europe, even though you're in your prime, let's say, and you still have a spot in the NBA. Who else? Who else is surprising? Oh, actually, the number 5 and 6 spots, I think there would be another guy who would slide in as soon as the contract becomes actually official, and that's Alex Len, because I looked up before the video. I knew he might not be included, so I looked up. His total career earnings is about $46.6 million, so he would slide right in between Jabari Parker and Tomasz Satoransky. Trey Lyles, also a recent signing. Then who else we got? Nobody really that surprising so far. I mean, Kendrick Nunn, probably the best player in the EuroLeague right now at $13.3 million. But if you look at his NBA career, he was undrafted. He was signed by Miami after, if I'm not mistaken, a G League season with another team. And then he had 3 years in Miami. And then he had a couple of years with different teams, I think Lakers and Washington. All of those were pretty small deals, so not surprising for an undrafted player to have only this much money. He probably already can make, or has made already, more money with the Panathinaikos. Maybe not yet, but the totals probably will be more than his NBA career when you look at net numbers, not just the gross numbers. So all the taxes deducted, I think that Kendrick Nunn will make more money in the EuroLeague rather than in the NBA. And then there's a lot of guys that you probably forgot played in the NBA, like Jan Vesely back in, I don't know, 2011 he was drafted. Monte Yunus, you know, he spent a lot of time in China. That's why you probably can't remember him playing in the NBA. But if you're a Rockets fan, you definitely remember his post moves. Gabriel Deck, I don't remember him playing in the NBA. I know it was recent and it was probably for 1 year only. But I just don't remember where he played, really. Papa Nicolau, all these guys, like, it makes sense. I remember them playing, most of them. Let's see who's at the bottom of the list. Elijah Bryant, 24,000 only. I remember him being with the Bucks, but if I'm not mistaken, he only played like 1 game in the regular season, and then quite a few games in the playoffs, but not a lot of minutes, so maybe it was a very short deal. Jordan Lloyd, obviously 77,000, but he's known for that championship buzzer beater, or the Eastern Conference final buzzer beater by Kawhi Leonard, and he was in the background, the random guy in the suit. Nick Gytis, I kind of remember him playing a significant role with Memphis Grizzlies, but maybe that was not that long as I really recall it for. Like, it wasn't as long as I thought it was. 1.3 million. Some of these guys, you know, who played even less time, like David Servides, for example, 2.5 million, didn't really play much, but he was in the later, you know, just in the later stage of the NBA where the money just ballooned up anyway. So if you played the 1 or 2 seasons back in 2014, it's one amount of money. If you played the same amount in, let's say, 2018, 19 and onwards, the money just ballooned up because of the TV deals. So yeah, these are all the guys who ever have played in the NBA and earned their money there, now playing in the EuroLeague. Some surprising names. Obviously, the biggest surprise for me, Davis Bertans. I mean, this was probably not the best business move or the best signing front office move. Probably one of the worst moves that I can think of. The amount of money was given to the player that only does one thing on the court. You know, otherwise, this article I think just highlights the players that have come over with a higher status and higher accomplishments or the longer careers in the NBA. It doesn't necessarily say anything about their skill or anything. You know, NBA is about the fit most of the time. There are superstars and then you fit around with these role players. So most of these guys are usually role players, and when you look at the list that we have right here, it's all of them pretty much were role players. That is all for today. We looked at the top earners of the NBA in the EuroLeague. I hope you guys enjoy these kind of casual videos. If you have any other topics to suggest that I should look at, make sure to drop those in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check us out on BasketNews.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out any of our coverage of the EuroLeague and your bonus episodes. Put the notification bell on, then you'll definitely won't forget. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.